Okay, teaching SEL curriculum, diving into lessons. There's tons of different ways to do this, just like there's tons of different ways to teach phonemic awareness and reading and math and writing and how to do that. So you've got to figure out what's going to work for you, your already busy schedule, your students, your personality, their personality, what you feel comfortable with. You've got to want to be doing this curriculum, just like all things. I always taught better when I was really excited about it. So those science units that I loved, or those social studies units that I loved, I put more passion into it because I was excited to teach it. And the ones that I'm like, oh my goodness, do we really have to teach this? We kind of just glazed over it. We brushed over it super quick. So find something that you love and you want to teach with them, because then you'll come at it, of course, as with all things, with more passion and more excitement and they'll feed off of it, right? Just like all things. So there's basically two ways to do this. You can have intentional lessons. Set aside time where you are doing this. This is our social emotional learning time. You can also fit it into the cracks of your day. Two birds with one stone. I'm going to show you how to do that in the next video. But for this one, we're going to assume that you have some time in your schedule for intentional social emotional learning curriculum. And I know that is not true for everyone, but maybe you can take a piece of it. You could take one lesson and break it up into like 5-minute little chunks and sneak it in between two specials or after recess, or real quick, you can maybe do it this way. So I'm going to share this with you and figure out how it's going to work for you. One of the easiest things that we've been talking about is using those real life issues. So when they're bickering and when they're fighting and they're coming in from recess, using that. But if you have a plan ahead of time, you're then able to connect it to things that you're already learning. And when we can connect their real life to things we're learning in the classroom, it really solidifies for them. So one of the main things that a lot of campuses do is they will have Kindness Week. And Kindness Week looks great on websites and in newsletters, and it's yay, we're having Kindness Week. And if that is all you can do, if that's the only thing you have time for, then that is fine. But as you know, since we've been going through this, a one-time conversation is not going to work. Being kind for a week is not going to work. Think about how we teach any concept to our students. For example, phonemic awareness. Can we teach that in 1 week and then okay, now you're ready to read? Of course not. Can we teach the alphabet in 1 week? Multiplication in a week? We cannot. It has to be consistent. It has to be all the time. As they're walking out the door, they're practicing, they're singing the alphabet song. We make it gross motor and fine motor, and we do big skills, and we practice in small group and big group, and we talk about it, and we bring the kids over who are really struggling, and we make it into a game, and we practice and we play, and we do it at center time, and we do it as a whole group. That's how kids learn, so that we get as many of our different learners as we can. We're constantly cycling through these concepts. This is why Kindness Week will never work, to really, really get kids to understand it. Yeah, it's great, it's sweet, but it's not going to make it into a teachable moment where they're able to really understand and then apply the strategies that we have been talking about. So one thing that you can do is we have like 100 acts of kindness, where every day you challenge your kids to be kind for just one thing. One thing as you're going out the door, do this one thing today, to making it that habit. So it's not just this 1 week. We're not kind just for a week. We don't know the alphabet just for a week. We are going to be kind all the time. We're just going to do this. This is just part of who we are. So if we have more time, we're talking about these weekly or monthly or daily lessons. You can fit them in however you want. And as teachers, we tend to lean towards love themes. I love a good theme. As an elementary school teacher, I lived and died by the holidays. So in September, it was apples and back to school and buses. And then Halloween I loved because it was all things Halloween and witches and bats and pumpkins. And then we just kept on going through the season. And so that's kind of how I've set this up for you, so that it is like one basic theme for every single month. So one theme could be, as you start off, Kindness Month. And what is it? What it's not? What is kindness? As you're talking about the basics, the vocabulary, the concepts. And then you can move into being a good friend. Or another month is all about being an includer. So all those things we talked about, the games, includer, bingo, all of that would then fall into this month of focusing on being an includer. You could do a whole month on bullying and standing up and practicing being an upstander, practicing saying no. What are the types of bullying? And again, this is going to depend on your students and how much time you have, but you could dedicate a whole month to being anti-bullying and really dive into it. And then it cycles back and you're talking about it when you're talking about being a good friend, right? It all connects. You could do a whole month on just celebrating our differences, because that's going to bully proof our students. That's a great one for the beginning of the school year. You could do a whole month or a whole lesson or a whole unit on compassion and empathy and how to treat other people so that you are more mindful. You could do a whole one on being considerate and being thoughtful of other people. A whole unit or a month or lesson, however you're just designing it, on good sportsmanship, how to be a good winner, how to be a good loser, how to play fairly so that you're following the rules so people want to continue to play with you. You could do a unit or month on manners. You could do a whole one on being helpful, how to be a helper, how to volunteer, how to give back to other people. You could do a whole one on gratitude, or you take all of it and you just mix it in and mush it in, and when it comes up, you talk about it. I love having a plan, so I know in January we're talking about this, so when I have a few extra minutes or when we're fitting it into the cracks, then I know which kind of theme and concept I'm really going to talk about. And basically all the things that we've been talking about over the course of this, all the resources I've been giving you, this is now how you systematically put it into your lesson plans. So you have two choices. You can piece it together. You can take what I've given you, you can go onto my website, you can find resources. There's tons of stuff I put on Teachers Pay Teachers. There are so many resources for you available. And that's totally fine. Or you can go to our membership and you can join. Every month I send you the theme, I send you the affirmations, I send you the literature, I send you questions, I send you printable resources that you need for that month to support the learning that you're doing. And I have that available for you, and you're welcome to join. We would love for you to join. Or you can, of course, piece it together, pull out what you need, take what you want, and do it on your own. And that's, of course, fine too. So now if you don't have time for the monthly lessons, or you're not really into themes, or you don't want it to be that organized, you just need to fit it in a little bit here, a little bit there. You already have too many minutes of your day of curriculum, and you can't fit something else in as a block. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to fit social emotional learning into the cracks of your lesson plans, double dip with the standards, 2 birds, 1 stone kind of stuff. And I'm going to show you how to do that in the next video. I'll see you in there.